All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Over the next 7 minutes or so, we're going to build a really wholesome understanding of how an 800-year-old poet literally handed us a practical, step-by-step map for our modern inner restlessness. We are going to explore the deep Sufi wisdom that actually drives the work of Rumi.
Now, you've probably seen quotes just like this scattered all over your social media feeds, right? They're beautifully decorative and they sound super profound and spiritual, but let's be honest, without context, they can be kind of confusing. Like, what does it actually mean to die before you die?
So we've got to ask ourselves, are these just, pretty words meant for a coffee mug? Or is there actually a rigorous, life-changing system hiding right underneath? Well, the sources we're unpacking today argue that it is absolutely the latter. It is a full-on method for inner transformation.
Part 1. Why Rumi Still Matters. Navigating the Maze.
To really get Rumi, we first have to realize that his work is way less like a formal lecture and a lot more like a guide through a giant, complex labyrinth. He's speaking directly to that very human struggle for meaning. Honestly, reading him is a lot like wandering the winding, chaotic streets of Lahore's old city. At first glance, with all its layered streets and hidden courtyards, it just looks like a total maze. But once you learn the hidden pattern, the whole place suddenly stops feeling random. Rumi works the exact same way. He is literally handing you the map so you can see the underlying pattern of your own soul. Moving on to part 2, the real meaning of Sufism. The 6 truths of the heart.
So this map Rumi gives us, it actually belongs to a much wider landscape known as Sufism. Now, Sufism gets misunderstood a lot. People think it's just poetry or some separate set of rituals, but it's actually this profound way of seeing the world and a way of becoming inwardly true. And the absolute crucial starting point? It's the heart. In this tradition, your heart isn't just a place that generates feelings. It's the true center of perception. Think of your heart kind of like a radio receiver. If it gets all mistuned by ego or distraction or pride, the signal of reality comes through completely full of static. It literally needs constant polishing to clearly receive what's actually true.
Let's compare those two inner voices for a second. The ego is kind of like a dusty window looking out at the world, constantly saying, I gotta control this, I gotta prove myself, and I need to protect myself. But the Sufi path, it completely interrupts that narrow view. It asks, hey, what if true freedom actually begins when you stop worshiping that small, cramped version of yourself? See, Rumi doesn't want to destroy your sense of self. He just wants to educate it right out of its illusions. And this framework completely redefines love. We're so used to thinking of love as merely an emotion, right? Like an affection or a preference, but Sufism says no. Love is a gravitational magnet. It's an active, powerful force that actually pulls and reorients your entire inner world toward God, truth, and beauty, just like a magnet aligns iron filings. When we look at this entire Sufi system laid out, I want you to pay special attention to 2 things: remembrance and discipline. Because think about it, a garden doesn't just grow because you look at it and admire it once. It has to be watered. It has to be tended to. Discipline and that repeated practice of remembrance, that's the daily watering you absolutely need to grow the garden of your heart toward that ultimate goal of real nearness and sincerity.
Which brings us to part 3, Rumi's method of transformation, awakening the soul.
So how exactly does Rumi teach this system? Well, here's the secret. He doesn't just hand you a list of facts to memorize. He enacts the transformation. He creates these emotional shocks using paradox to totally disrupt our ordinary, comfortable way of seeing things. And he completely flips our modern mindset here. Today, we're basically taught that if we feel restless or have this ache inside, we need to fix it, numb it, or just get rid of it. But Rumi? He suggests that your hidden dissatisfaction isn't a problem at all. Actually, it's a compass. It is simply a sign that your soul hasn't yet found what it's truly looking for. You can actually track his exact teaching pattern when you look at how he treats our everyday struggles. Watch what he does here. He takes our confusion and reframes it as a signpost. He honors our longing by turning it into a clear direction. He takes our pain and interprets it as an opportunity for possible growth. He is essentially taking our deepest, darkest wounds and turning them into literal openings for light to enter. The pain becomes the crack that lets the truth in. How amazing is that? And finally, part 4, living the Sufi message, carrying the message forward. So how do we actually take this ancient, profound technology of the heart and apply it to our incredibly noisy, distracted modern lives?
Well, Rumi invites us to make a massive shift in how we process our days. Whenever we face difficulty or longing, our default reaction is almost always to ask, "Ugh, why is this happening to me?" But Rumi challenges us to pause, to look at every single moment of grief or joy and instead ask, "What is this revealing about the state of my heart?" He wants you to let the experience itself become your instruction. By understanding this whole framework, the perceptive heart, the distorting ego, and that undeniable gravitational pull of love, his words finally open up. You start to realize this isn't just about admiring some 800-year-old poetry. It's literally about transforming your own soul. You are learning how to think with him. So as you go about your day to day, I really want to leave you with this thought. The next time you feel that deep, unexplainable inner restlessness, are you going to try to numb it, or will you finally follow it to see exactly where it's asking you to go?